Your market news now. Asian markets were up on the day as market players brushed off earlier subdued Chinese economic growth data that was hampered by an outbreak of the highly transmissible Delta COVID-19 variant. They chose instead to track the positive run in the United States. It seems markets continue to be buoyed by the remarks made by Fed Chair Jerome Powell, indicating that the bank is not rushing to start tapering its bond buying program. The Japanese Nikkei benchmark average ended the day firmly in positive territory, ending up 1.08%. The Hang Seng Index ended 1.33% in the black to close at 25,878 index points, while in mainland China the market was also positive, although not to the same degree. The Shanghai Composite Index ending the session up 0.45%. To states, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ hit all-time highs on Monday as dovish remarks from the Federal Reserve last week bolstered optimism in an economic rebound and eased fears of a sudden tapering in monetary stimulus. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was the underperformer on the day, declining by 0.16%. The S&P 500 ended the day in the black to the tune of 0.43%, closing at 4,528 index points, while the tech-heavy NASDAQ Composite rose by 0.9%, closing at 15,266 index points. Let's take a look at the European markets. Let's break down the markets for us. I'm joined by Makwe Masilela. He's the Chief Investment Officer at Makwe Fund Managers. Thanks very much, Makwe, for joining us. So global markets are seemingly on a positive run at the moment. They were generally positive yesterday, although the local JSE was not in positive territory for one reason or another. Is that all to do with what the Fed Chair Jerome Powell was saying last week on Friday, or are there other factors?
Good afternoon to you and to the viewers. Indeed, Nombu, it's a question of picking up from the comments that we've got last week Friday. And generally, market participants are confident that the ongoing economic recovery will still be there. And yes, we did get, say, bad numbers coming out of China when it comes to the PMI for August slowing. But that itself also tells you that the central government of China should be able to continue to stimulate the economy, do what they need to do. So any bad economic data can also give an opportunity for governments to intervene. As much as we have heard on Friday that the U.S. Federal Reserve, remember, theirs is a monetary policy, and we still have fiscal policy, that they don't have any intentions of raising interest rates anytime soon. And also when it comes to bond tapering, it will be done in such a way that it doesn't affect us. In a way, you can safely say we were well prepped, and hence we didn't see that tantrum. But I think investors are confident that the Delta variant, as much as it was spreading, probably it's reaching its peak, and that we don't maybe expect another variant going forward. So the economic recovery is more of a play more than anything. Hence, people continue to expose themselves to those kind of stocks.
Yeah, the United States Gulf Coast continues to experience hurricanes and so on. The most recent one was Hurricane Ida, and that usually has an impact on the oil price. What are we seeing right now? Because I do see that the oil price has ticked down by about 2% on the day, but what's the general influence?
You know, we've seen Ida being downgraded to more of a storm and missing some of the rigs. So the impact that we expected on Saturday, Sunday, we didn't see that happening. So hence we see oil prices behaving in this manner. And remember, tomorrow you've got the OPEC meeting to decide when it comes to that oil production that's supposed to be starting increasing by almost 400,000 barrels per day. So that's also another factor. And remember, we are talking Brent crude. It's been up almost 40% this year. And the fundamentals thereof will depend on the vaccine rollout. If we expect the vaccine rollout to help the economic recovery to continue, then definitely we'll see a pickup when it comes to demand.
As I mentioned, the local all-share JSE did decline yesterday, but we see that that market is up on the day. But given the fact that we're now hearing that there's this new variant in South Africa and a number of other countries, the so-called C12, How much of a setback is that for local stocks, given the fact that obviously that might put us back again in terms of dealing with coronavirus?
For now, there's nothing. The market has not yet reacted to that because we are hopeful that the current vaccine should be able to deal with it. But generally, all markets, not just the South African markets, they have to bake in the fact that we might get another variant, which is more severe, which the current vaccines won't be able to deal with. But back home here, if you look at the JSE, I mean, usually it's a good sign when we see our banks going up, because banks going up is an indication that the general economy is not doing that bad. And truth be told, Nombu, our economy is not in the bad shape as we thought it will be. Yes, we still have some way to get out of the woods, but we are not that bad.
We know that, just looking at a stock now, Old Mutual, we know that they've had a hard time for the longest time with leadership issues and so on and so forth, but they've got a new strategy now, a new CEO, and they've reported positive metrics for their first half of this year, ended June 2021. Just give us your impressions and thoughts around how they're doing and what their prospects are.
I think the strategy is working very fine. You know, the guys have just turned the corner. And as they said, you know, their adjusted headline earnings supposed to go up by almost 70%. And their results from operations improving by 42%. And yes, just like other insurers, they had to increase their provision for COVID-19 by almost 2 billion. And this is a company that paid almost 10 billion when it comes to mortality claims. And it's not surprising, especially if we've seen the numbers that was released by ASISA, that when it comes to mortalities, I mean, the industry itself, it has seen a 43% increase, so it's not an Old Mutual story alone. But yes, going forward, it will depend on the vaccine rollout, how successful it is, and as well as if we don't get any surprises when it comes to other variants, and maybe we don't just end up with the third or fourth wave, things get to worsen. But if things are the way we think they will be, that things should recover anytime soon, I think Old Mutual itself is well positioned to start doing well. And anyway, they paid us a dividend, and that was in line with their dividend policy, a dividend of 25 cents per share.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Makwe, for your time. Makwe Masilela, he's Chief Investment Officer at Makwe Fund Managers. We're going to take a